Hello, I'm Dwayne Chig, and welcome to another issue of Your Encouragement Encounter. Recently, I was traveling back home. I live in California from Atlanta, and there was a layover in San Francisco. So I was in the airport in San Francisco, ready to board the plane, but then the voice came over the loudspeaker, said there's going to be a 5-minute delay. And then 5 minutes later, they said it's going to be a 10-minute delay. And then later on, they just let us know that the plane was going to be delayed for a significant amount of time. And then as they were doing this, I saw people still standing in line like they were going to board the plane. I took a seat, and I'm wondering why are these people still standing here. But people deal with delays differently. That's what I want to talk about today is how do you handle delays? As it relates to your goal, your dream, your vision, sometimes the dream will be delayed. How do you handle it? Now, delays happen for a variety of reasons. In my case in San Francisco, the delay came because they had to check out the airplane. And sometimes when you're traveling, when you're driving, there's a delay because there are a lot of people on the road. It's just life. Things happen. Sometimes there's a delay because someone else had an accident, but it causes you to be delayed. And so sometimes the delay is not your fault, but sometimes it is your fault. Sometimes our dreams are delayed because we haven't learned the lesson we need to learn. We haven't executed some things right. So how do you deal with delays? There are a couple of things. One of the things that can happen is that one of the things that did happen, that oftentimes happens to me when I'm waiting for something, when I have some time on my hands, I'll go through my phone and I'll begin to delete some text messages that I still have on there, some old ones, some emails that I have on there. And sometimes when we're waiting for our dream to come to pass, sometimes when we're experiencing a delay, it may be a good idea to delete some things. You can delete some reactions. Those people that were standing, waiting to get on the plane, when I was in San Francisco recently and knowing they weren't going to get on the plane for the next 30 minutes, inevitably somebody's going to get angry. But as you're dealing with your delay, you can delete some negative behavior. You can delete some things that are not going to bring about any progress to your journey. And then sometimes you have to delete some conversations. There are some things that are not going to help you while you're waiting for your dream. And then there are some people you may have to delete. You can't talk to everybody about your dream. You can't go to everybody. And so some people are just negative. Some people are not about progress. So you may have to delete them. I know they're family. I know they're friends. But you may have to delete them from your immediate circle or delete them from your conversations about goals and different things of that nature. So it may be necessary to delete some things while you're dealing with your delay. Not only that, but not only delete, but delight. The reason I was going to Atlanta, to Georgia, was not a good reason. It was a sad reason. My grandmother passed away, and so I went down to deal with her, celebrate her life and in the funeral and everything. Although that was a sad occasion, I could bring some delight to myself while I was there in the airport because my grandmother had just recently, 3 days before she passed, she celebrated her 96th birthday. So while it was a sad thing, I had some reasons to delight. My grandmother reached 96 years old and she still had her mind. She was still able to communicate. As a matter of fact, I called her on that day of her birthday. And so that was something that could help me bring some delight to my situation. Not only that, I was able to visit my mother. I hadn't seen my mother in 2 years, so I was able to see her, so that brought me some delight. And then I was able to help her in some way. And so while I was sitting there dealing with my delay, I could begin to think about some things that would bring delight to me, delight to my situation. So while you're dealing with your delay, maybe you need to delete some things, but I'm quite sure there's some things you can bring to your mind that will cause some delight. You didn't get the response you wanted from the book, but at least you finished it. You're not where you want to be yet, but at least you're on your way. Recently, I got 2 residual checks for a book that I wrote almost 3 years ago, and the book didn't do as well as I thought it did. It should have, as well as I wanted it to. But in the meantime, again, 3 years later, I just recently, for the last 2 quarters, I received residual checks, royalty checks for a book I wrote 3 years ago that didn't do as well as I wanted it to do. So I can use that to bring some delight. I can use that to think about some good things. And so I'm quite sure you can think of some things that would help you will bring some delight to your face while you're waiting for things to come to pass, while you're waiting for things to turn around. So delete, delight. But not only that, don't let the delay damage the dream. While I was there in San Francisco, waiting for the plane to take off, and then eventually they said, okay, you can board now. Now, I wasn't going to let all that time destroy my trip, my journey home, because when I got to LAX, my wife and my sister were there waiting for me. I was happy to be home, so I wasn't focusing on the delay. I was focusing on the fact that I got home safely. I was focusing on the fact that I made it. I was able to go on to the next step of what I needed to do. Don't let the delay damage your dream. Although things haven't worked out the way you want them to, you can still make it. Although things haven't come to pass in the time frame that you wanted, you can still write the book. You can still lose the weight. You can still sing your song. You can still finish school. So don't let the delay damage your dream. You can do it. And those are some things you can do to handle your delay. Well, I trust that something was said that helped you in some way. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, you can follow me at EncourageMan. That's EncourageMan. If you're new to my encouragement network, or you just like to review some of the other videos, you can find them on my YouTube page, Dwayne Shig. And I'm quite sure you know someone that could use some encouragement. Would you please share this with them? If your group or organization looking for a speaker for your next event and you'd like to contact me, I can be reached at drshig@gmail.com. That's drshig@gmail.com. Well, until next time, you can make it. Be encouraged.